you've been on the river guiding and managing camps. Could you tell us what are the most important elements of a successful fishing trip for the different guests that you've entertained on the Miramichi place?
Well, the most important thing, especially a new person that don't fish time in the Miramichi, is to be able to hook his own fish. That was number one. And a lot of guys didn't realize that. They thought long as they got a fish, and most of the people that came, they didn't understand fishing, and they couldn't hardly maybe get a line up maybe 20, 25 feet. And for some reason, most of the guys, including myself, would let them fish around and not let them fish the hot spot. And then when you get to take a hold of the rod, you cast over 75 feet or 80 feet, and you hook the fish. He thought they were doing something great. So I learned a lesson by that, by a gentleman, and that one fish that he hooked himself meant more if you hooked him 20.
Yeah.
And so after that, I tried my best, even the guy couldn't cast very well, just put him in an area where he could cast. Now the biggest problem the guide had is guiding an experienced fisherman. Because now, you may laugh at me, but a lot of these experienced fishermen can cast good, but they didn't really understand fishing on the Miramichi. And the pools are not large pools. You don't need to have fish 100-foot line. A 50, 60-foot line is perfect for swinging and hooking fish. But the first thing they do, get in a small pool, and the next thing you know, there's casting outside the pool.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting shortened down. And you tell them to shorten up the line, and they make a few casts, and then the first thing they want to show that they cast as far as the guy, and is out of the pool. Now, I way soon got a woman than a man. Way soon, not. It don't make a difference if good looking or not. I soon got a woman because they pay attention.
Yes, yeah.
And they listen, and they don't want to show off how far they cast. They couldn't cast very far anyway. And I'm telling you, and they did real well. They listened to you, and they hooked a lot of fish, got a lot of nice salmon. Make sure the food is good. They like everything homemade. They don't want to see baker's bread on the table or bought cookies or bought pies and cake. They like everything being homemade, and don't be skimpy with it. Make sure there's lots on the table.
Yeah.
I had one gentleman, I used to bring hunting parties in the fall, and I need an extra guide. I asked him to guide for me, and then when he bring his parties in, he had next. I used to guide for him, and he said to me one day, "I can't understand it." He said, "You got guys come back year after year after year," and he said, "I have a very few who want to come back the second time. Wonder why? What's the trouble? What's the difference?" He said, "I got just good hunting in my property, the place that you have, and the hills are no steeper." And I said, "You want to know the truth? I just tell you, one thing is, there's always running out of food on your table. I said, never make sure that they feed them good. And you feed them good and good homemade food, they'll come back, even if fishing is hard or fishing or hunting." Now Clayton Stewart, I used to guide a lot of him in hunting party in the sea in the fall, and he'd like to go along and do the cooking. So I said to Clayton, this trip, he's going up Half Moon and coming down, and I said, "You're going to have turkey." I said, "Clayton, for dinner tonight, Sunday night?" He said, "Oh yes." He said, "I got a big turkey to roast." And I said, "Don't bring any veg, buy any veg. I got everything you need, carrots, potatoes, and squash." And I said, "I got the driest squash I ever seen this year. No, it's actually a little bit too dry." And the Clayton said, "That's great." So, "How do you cook your squash? Bake them?" I said, "No." I said, "I have a big crowd, I boil them. So anyway, we come in at dark, we come down there, Clayton had dinner all set. And I seen a couple of pots on the stove. One was potatoes, and I said, "Clayton, what's in the other pot there?" He said, "That's squash." He said, "That's been on there for an hour." It's just as wet. So he said, "Not even thickening up." I took a laugh and I said, "You got to be kidding." "No." He said, "I do something wrong?" I said, "Yes, I got extra squash." brought extra squash, take that and dump it in, and you don't. And I said, I'll get the squash ready to boil. And when I got the squash all ready, now I said, Clayton, I said, put it on and you boil it. And you just boil it well and take a fork, and just as soon as you can stick the fork in it, drain it. Oh, that's how you, yeah, that's how you don't, you cook it, this is like a soup. So he didn't know anything about cooking squash and the water. He baked them in the oven, but so when I went the next one, it turned out perfect, nice and dry, and he could get over after that. He was a great laugh for him.
Wow.
And you can always learn something. Now, I had a couple cook for me up at Dead Man Camp in the fall, old Mr. DeCenso, and he liked when he got a fish or two, he always liked a big fish chowder. So the lady doing the cooking, she was getting a chowder ready for him, and I said, what are you doing? And she said, you're breaking this fish all up in little pieces. She said, I'm chowdering it all up. And I said, no, I said, you don't do it that way. For him, I said, he's like some big, nice chunks. Cook your vegetables, and after it's all cooked, then you first break it apart and leave them in big chunks in the chowder. Well, she said, it wouldn't be a chowder then. And I said, well, that's what he calls a chowder. And she said, another old cook told me to take a whisk and swish it all around and break it all up. I said, well, that's good that way, maybe, but I said, he likes it. When he puts in his plate, he can see chunks of salmon in his chowder. So she put it on the table, and the old guy, he said, to the cook, he said, well, that's just perfect, just the way I like it. So a lot of good cooks make mistakes. Now, I'm not saying I'm a good cook, but I'm just saying a lot of good, I watch what the guys like. Yeah. And I would say 95 to 98% of the Americans that come, when you cook a steak for them, you don't cook it like the old timers on the Miramichi, burn it. Yeah. They like it just as rare. When you stick the fork in it, as long as they don't kick you, take it off. And that's where they want it. Yeah. And the roast. Yeah. But the cooks on the river here for years, different camps, they get a prime rib roast, and you cut right in the heart. You couldn't find a pink piece of meat anywhere. And the Americans didn't like it that way. They liked it when you took a slice off the really juice run right out of it. Yeah. Cook it just red, you call it. And it takes a lot of cooks, good cooks, a long time to get that in their head, because they're used to cooking for people on the Miramichi and all of it like a brick, So anyway, we stayed at Slate Island and went fishing in the evening, and the wind was blowing. I was guiding a doctor's wife, Mr. Whiteside, his name was, and so anyway, we was fishing. I was fishing behind, 100 yards or so behind her husband, in the windy evening, and Wes was fishing down below, and just above Slate Island Run, and the ledge sticking up ahead of the pool, the ledge sticking up. So it was windy, it kept pushing him around, so Wes, he pulled his canoe up on the ledge, and this gentleman was fishing off the ledge. So he had a nice firm footing, Wes was sitting back. And the wind was blowing upstream, so he hadn't fished before. He wasn't an amateur, but he fished before, but it don't matter, sometimes the wind's blowing, you lose control of your line. And the fly he cast, and the fly come back and struck him in the eye. Double hook fly, hardy fly, and went through the upper lid, underneath, to the one barb, went through his white of his eye, and down caught the lower lid. And that pinned his eye right solid. And the other hook was inside too, both hooks was inside the lids. The only thing we could see, open a little slit, I could see where it went through part of the white of his eye. So, all of a sudden, West jumped to his feet and helped the guy to sit down, and then he waved at me, because he knew I carried this little medical kit, I called it, with me, cutting pliers. He waved his arms for me to come down. So I said to his wife, I said, your husband hooked himself in the eye. I don't know how bad, but I said, I figured in his face somewhere. So I went down. When I got there, Wes was talking, and the blood would run down his cheek, down his face. And I come in, and I went over, and I looked, and I said, he said to me, he said, you got to take that fly over. It's just before dark. There's no way. We was 5-6 miles from Burn Hill, and 20-some miles to Boys Town from there. I mean, it's dark yet. That fly's got to come out. There's no way we could get down the river.
No.
And after dark, and it's a dark night, wind blowing. So I said to him, I got over this little bit, and I looked in. I said, Doc, I said, look, the one bar, the hook had gone down hard, it missed your eye, really, your middle of your eye, but through your white of your eye. And I said, there's no way I can get my pliers in to cut the hook apart. And he said, you have to take it over. He said, the only way I can see, if I could, I don't want damage to your eye, but if I could go in and cut that little bit of white of your eye that was on the shank of the hook, maybe I get your lids far enough apart, I can reach in and go and cut the pliers and cut the hook in two and take the pieces off. Do what you have to do. And I said, well, I got my kit, and I always carried a real sharp jackknife, and I always carried a cigarette lighter, so the first thing I did, I lit the cigarette lighter and got the knife real hot, and cooled it off, any germs on it. And so then I said to Wes now, I said, by that time, Harley Stewart showed up, which was worst thing we ever thought could happen. He was scared of blood, and he's been making all these noises. And I said, Wes, for goodness sake, get Howley out of here. I said, he passes out. We're really in trouble. And working up the doctor's side. So Wes sat down. We got Howley out of there, and Wes sat down and got the doctor's head right between his knees, and kept his head real solid, real steady. And I got the knife ready, and I said, the doctor, I get to win. And I said, I think I can cut that little bit of skin and stuff on your eye, on the shank of the hook. So I got right in his eye with the point of the knife, and very carefully cut that little bit of skin. Then the eyelids come open, so I cut the hook apart.
Yeah.
And then I took 2 pieces of it. I think all finished. And the eyes all done. He said to me, what do you suggest now? And I said, well, tonight there's no way to get you out of here. I said, tonight I said, go in and get some warm water. Stand and put a little salt in, David with salt and water. But then tomorrow morning I said, after breakfast, we'll head down and get out of here. So that's great. I'll take your advice. I imagine you're going to do that anyway. You just ask me what you should do.
Yeah.
And so anyway, next morning we get up, think about heading out of there, and he wouldn't go. He told me, he's okay. I can see there's no infection. He said, I think I'll stay another day, and we can get down to regular time and fish another day. So we stayed and fished, and we went down to the next day. Then we run all the things, the stuff at Burn Hill, we run clear on down through the Boy Scouts and slay down. So anyway, when he said goodbye, he tipped everybody. They always used a pretty nice party for tipping and stuff. Christmas time, I kind of forgot about it. Christmas time, I got this Christmas card from them in the mail. It took me a while to think of who it was, because you got so many people you kind of forget.
Yes, yeah.
Opened it up and a nice card, a little note in it. He said, I'm awful sorry, but I neglected paying for my surgery. And he sent a $100 American dollar check in the mail for his surgery. And he said, I'll never forget you because I'll have a permanent scar on my eye from that operation. But he said, I want to let you know it didn't affect me a sign of the world. He said, I still have the same eyesight I always had. It didn't affect my eyesight any, but I got scarred. And he said, every time I look at the scar, I remember you, the job you did for me. Appreciation. So anyway, that was the end of the operation there.